तो सनी पाजी आपका बहुत स्वागत है फिल्मी शिल्मी .com पर और गदर 2 के लिए बहुत बहुत बधाई दो आपको.
Thank you, Ji. Thank you very much.
So the Sunny Deol that began as Tara Singh back in 2001 to the Sunny Deol now, I mean there's been a huge difference. इस बार वो difference अगर आप कह सकते हैं या pinpoint कर सकते हैं वो differences क्या होंगे?
I don't know actually what are the differences from there to now. Definitely I've become more mature, more wiser. I don't know. I mean, obviously the difference in my numbers have gone up. My age has gone up. And that's all. Otherwise, I'm just the same because I don't see myself changing or I've changed or anything. I don't really see myself like that.
And what really fascinates me is that the Sunny Deol I see on screen versus the Sunny Deol that I meet. I mean, usually your characters are very hot-headed, very warm-hearted as well at the same time, but often quite bruised. But then here, when I see you, you're very gentle, very softly spoken. Do you ever feel there's ever this kind of conflict between the characters that you play and the Sunny Deol that you actually are?
Not really. I mean, not really. That's what we actors are, basically. We are full with lots of characters, different kinds of characters within ourselves, the personalities within ourselves. And as an actor, we get the opportunity to bring it out in those, the characters which are given to us. And so that's why always there's a lot of me in any character which I portray, because that's what I try to put in, because for me, that is what an actor is supposed to give, rather than... I always say acting is not something which you can be taught. Either you have it or you don't have it.
And I think why Gadar for me worked, because I feel it's one of the rare films in Hindi cinema which really shows the horrible effects of partition, in the most beautiful way, in the most cinematic way, and the most commercial way ever. एंड अगर देखा जाए तो आजकल जो फिल्में जो सक्सीड हो रही हैं, चाहे कश्मीर फाइल्स ले लो, केरला स्टोरी ले लो, चाहे कुछ भी ले लो, films which are really, even Mrs. Chatterjee versus Norway, a lot of these films which are very introspective on our past, on where we've gone wrong as humans, they're doing well. So do you think Gadar 2 in that way has also, in a way, tick boxed those elements of, really questioning where we've gone wrong as well as a race?
See, where we've gone right or where we've gone wrong is not the question what you're trying to put across, basically. We're just trying to portray characters and the way we exist in our surroundings right now. And Tara Singh was always a character who went through everything, but he went through the tide of becoming aggressive and becoming like how it was during partition. He himself was out there trying to kill people because he had lost his family, he has lost his sisters. But at the same time, that was just मैं कहता हूँ एक हादसा था जो everybody wants to forget, because it was an ugly thing, it was a dirty thing which shouldn't have ever happened. But it happened. But then he forgot all that. He didn't want to be part of all that. And he wanted to live a life because, and let there be peace and harmony. That's what he was. He fought for everything. But the wealth for him was always his family. And that's what clicks with the people. It's not the hatredness. It's the strength of a family. It's a bonding of a family. And everybody wants to be either Tara or Sakeena. Woman wants a husband like Tara, and the male wants his wife to be like Sakeena. So that's what has gone across, and the family bonding, that's what has clicked with everybody. That's why they are so much with this family.
Sure. Now, obviously, growing up, Dharamji's roles, he had very, again, like how you've done. I mean, you did Betab as your first film, which my mum loves you, by the way, I have to tell you. I think she was very jealous that I was going to be interviewing you today. But again, Dharamji did, very, very soft films as well, like with Bimal Roy back then. He also had the sort of hardcore masala films like Sholay and all of those as well. Again, with you, you've also had a bit of a mix as well. So how much of a reference point would you say your father's roles were, if at all?
See, my dad has been the only hero whom I've always looked up to, and as a human being, as an actor and everything. So I had my role model with me. I was born there. I was with him, and I think all that thing has rubbed onto me. And whatever I am is basically is something which has been passed from there, and genetically that's what we are basically. And And I mean, obviously, I feel that was a golden era when my dad was in the film industry, because there was so much of talent, and there's just talent and talent all around there. Just imagine that time they would do 2 to 3 films shooting in a day.
Yeah.
And they didn't have scripts in their hands or anything. And they did better films and better cinema, better everything then than what we can do right now. So what is it? It's the talent. It was the kind of writers, the directors, the music directors, the lyricists, the actors, everything was that time. The energy of art was flowing around, and I wish I was in that era. I would have got a chance to work with all those great makers and those talented people, because it was beautiful.
I wish to, honestly. I mean, that really was. But I think also, अगर देखा जाए तो मैस्कुलिन जो रोल्स होते हैं, आज ऐसा एक वक्त हुआ करता था जो लोग कहते थे मर्द को दर्द नहीं होता है, लेकिन अब लोग कहते हैं कि हाँ, हम इंसान हैं, मर्द को भी दर्द होता है. And I think even though your roles, even though they might be very action oriented and very like oi and tariq pe tariq types, but I think also they do have, like we mentioned earlier in the interview, a very broken and vulnerable side to them. And I know you touched on this earlier as well, but I want to emphasize that about bringing vulnerability to screen. How important is it for audiences जो आज है, जो questions पूछते हैं, to see that vulnerability in you as actors?
I think every human being is vulnerable, and the pain and the kind of hurt a person goes through is what makes him strong. Because if you can bear that and you can hold yourself as a human being and as a person, is basically the strength of the whole thing. It's not. So me, I feel the journey and all these things which happen to you make you a stronger and a stronger person, and that's what a man is all about. Not to give up and withstand the whole thing. I know there are certain people who can't withstand it, but there's no harm in that. Even if they can't, that doesn't make them anything lesser. It is just this threshold of pain a person can bear is what basically it is.
Do you have any regrets? I mean, it's been over 3 decades since Betab came out.
No, not really. I have no regrets about anything. I'm really happy and blessed.
And I think another thing, which I think when Pal Pal Dil Ke Paas was coming out, and I think when Karan was promoting, I think you went on a few reality shows, and that's where I think this whole question of vulnerability came to my mind, because I think the way Karan has really been so vocal about it, and I mean, I'm very proud of him for doing that, because I've gone through similar things that he's gone through, and it's tough. But I think also, sort of as you've matured, and I think becoming a father yourself, do you think that's really changed perhaps your perspective towards the art as well, maybe matured you as well as a person?
Yeah, it does, because until and unless you're not a father, you do not know why does a father feel all those things, and why is he like that. It's when you go through the fatherhood, you understand the vulnerability of a father. To me, a father is the most lonely man, because he has to be a father, he has to be strict, he has to do all those things, and at the same time, he wants to hug his kids, he wants them to come to him. But then he has to keep that distance a little way, so that the child grows up with the discipline and goes out facing the world in a better way.
It's interesting as well, because I'm not going to mention the Nword of Bollywood, because I think it's been said so many times, but I think you're one actor who I feel has definitely, despite coming, it's like even Abhishek as well, who's really managed to come on his own and done really well despite having a very legendary father. I mean, similar for you, but I think at that time when obviously there was a lot of influx of that, and even now there's so many different PR machineries at play where we're seeing actors being created rather than actually naturally connect with the common person. Do you feel like you've had to really endure a lot because of that whole dynamic shift as well?
Well, the world is out there for everyone, and you have to endure it and you have to fight it. There's no shortcuts for it, and that's how you face the world, and you become a man, and you have to go along with it, no matter what it is, whether you're being an actor's son or you're being the privileged one or not the privileged one. The war is on everywhere. Everyone wants to put you down, and you have to go through those tsunamis and those kind of difficult periods, and you have to face it yourself. People will say many things, but then you should never care about what the people say, because it's you who's making your path, not those people. And people who bark a lot are the people who are basically, who have nothing else but to keep commenting on people, and rather not looking at themselves, who and what they are basically. And I don't think anybody wants to snatch anything away from anyone. And no one is so privileged or not privileged, because end of the day, you prove to become somebody is what you are. It's your journey, how you can handle it and face it and become the man you should be.
Beautiful. Well, on that note, last question. Obviously, आजकल फिल्में जो आ रही है जो इंडियन है, जो एक भारतीय जो एक कल्चर है, उसको फिर से वो रिवाइव हो गया है, and I'm really happy to see that, and it's raining sequels as well, which is wonderful to see. I mean, Gadar 2 has definitely been a huge Gadar at the box office, as we've seen, but obviously now, do you feel a lot more confident now in sort of revisiting some of those very proud national films, patriotic films, which I've loved watching over the years? How confident do you feel now about revisiting those, and can we see any of them now?
See, I think, I don't know why we, it's our own, I think only in India we discuss patriotism. I think all over the world, everybody is patriotic because, to me, the basic thing, don't you love your mother? Exactly. My simple question is that. And so why bark about it? You're supposed to love your mother. Because that's she's given birth to you. How can you deny that? So when the people talk all these things, it's patriotic. I said, come on, man, anyway, that's never going to stop.
It's a
so
sentiment. There's nothing.
Yeah, no. I'm not bothered about it. I just laugh at those people because they really don't know what they're saying.
All right. Well, let's hope, and I hope that we get to see more such amazing films from you, Sunny sir. It's always such a pleasure to see you on the big screen. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you.